What is up? Got a shorter walk this time. That York through the belt, misaligned. I had a video not too long ago. This is our problem now. It's Monday. It's kind of cloudy and rainy, but it's nice. About 70 degrees out. Not sure what's going on. There's some kind of zone. It's a Zone X system. Zone systems rarely work right without a lot of adjustment, but if you're gonna do zones, do a VAV. But everybody wants to save money, so they throw a package unit in and then set up a freaking Jackson system, or like I said, this is Zone X. I haven't dealt a whole lot with them, so I'm not sure about the operation. I should have a blower, because I can hear the blower running. But we ain't got no cooling. 2 compressors. The coil is fairly clean as far as I can tell. And everything looks fairly normal. So let's get a panel off and see if we got any lockouts or anything like that going on. I mean, this says fan only. I'm not real familiar with these, but there's alarms, no events. Uh-oh. Well, interesting. Then why aren't you cooling? Because it's 80 degrees in there. I didn't bring much, but I brought a meter, the usuals, drill, and a Phillips. Let's see if we got a call. I guess there's no alarms, the blower's running. So what the hell's going on here? Everything down here looks normal too. No trips. We got 2 more fuses. Screw in fuses there. I mean, sure looks like it should be on another transformer. We're not using that transformer. Not sure what that's for. Alright, keep investigating. Let's start with power. That should be common. And that should be my red. That's not right. Something's not right there. Common and yellow. Common and green. That's weird. None of these are tripped. Those fuses feed power. Looks like maybe it goes down too, but it feeds over to that transformer, jumps out to the other transformer. So let's verify. I know I'm not tripped, but let's verify I've got 24 volts there, or hell, 460 going in, because it's protected by those 2 fuses, 1 leg per. So I'm gonna assume one of those fuses is blown and I'm not getting 460 in. I don't know if the controls power different, because I mean, it seems like I should have 24 volts when I got no alarms and power to my board. Let's keep investigating. Alright, let's see if I can squeeze right in the side there. And then my common's grounded right here, so we should have. Oh yeah, there's our 28 volts. So why am I not getting it up here? Interesting. So weird one. Let's keep poking around, see what we can figure out. Something weird's going on here. I'll bet it's a bad connection here. This says 24 volts. I don't know where it goes, but I just pulled those down and I can see. See the wire back in there? I'll bet I could pull that wire out just looking at it. No, maybe not. It might be okay. Both of those just didn't look good to me. And those are all red. And here's common. So just looking over my diagram here, this is my control board. So these are all sensors. There's logic built into the board. Obviously, I've got a screen and I'm not showing any red. There's a fault light in the middle over there, no faults. Obviously, we looked at the alarms, there's no alarms. But looking here, so it's red, note number 4. And note number 4 says smoke detector, condensate float, and or you gotta remove the red jumper. Well, there's not a red jumper, so I'm gonna assume, I didn't know where these wires went. They're going to a smoke detector and or a condensate float. But again, I would think that would alarm if one of them tripped. I don't want to just go reset this guy right now. I'm curious about what my zone control's doing. I have to take this off. I can't, it's not loose, so I can't remove it, but how that connects behind there, and I don't want to break nothing, so let's just leave it alone for right now. I have to get that panel off. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. So common up here, just beige wire down to that terminal block. Get in there. Alright, so we got 24 volts there because the wires are look like they're bad connections. We got 24 volts there. So we're gonna have 24 volts there. That's on my 24 volt all across there. I've got 24 volts everywhere. So, alright, it seems like I'm not getting a signal. I'm gonna have to go try to jump it out, see what happens. Didn't bring jumpers, but I got a little wire here, so let's see if we can do that without blowing anything up. It said it was just fan only is what the control said. We'll give it a minute and see if it won't come on. Alright, I'm fumbling my way through this. It said off while when I had it jumped out, but then I was looking. See that spade W1? It looks like maybe somebody pulled these off and it got put back in the wrong spot. These are separate. That should be W1, W2, Y1, and G. So W1, W2, Y1. So unless it got a stage 2 call, well, hell, if everything's, I don't know if the rest of them are correct or not. Let's pull all of them and see what the hell's going on here. There she goes. Maybe those are right. Commons on the bottom. Woo, I'll get a little jumpy. It must have a stage 2 call. Good Lord, man. You gotta be careful when you're putting these things on. If you take them off, you gotta make sure, because now there's only 3 terminals on top. Bam, T-stat. Y1 on, Y2 on. Master of the obvious, right? I'm not sure how the hell that happened. There goes the other stage. Or at least I don't have to mess with the zone control. We'll probably look at the trap, just make sure it's clear before we go, get a temp drop, you know, all the usual stuff, but hey, it's not everything's rocket surgery. So I got a phone call. I was chatting with a guy. Got random trash on the roof. I thought this was going to be another wire nut, but welcome to Louisville. It's another bullet. If I can get it out. That one's in there deep. Look at that. How about that? What I'll do is, because we're gonna mark it. Roofer will have to come out and patch that. We'll note it to the customer, that way they know what's going on. Show them their bullet. Ain't much you can do. Shoot a bullet in the air, it's gonna come down somewhere, and it usually comes down on the roof. This guy's still running. No issues yet. Everything's operating. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna stay away from the zone control unless I need to, because it doesn't seem like that's an issue. We replaced the blower not too long ago. It couldn't have been down that long altogether. I don't know how. Maybe they just called it in. I'm not sure. But always watch that. If you got a plug terminal block like that with wires, if you unplug it, sometimes it will plug on incorrectly and your wire's not landed on the right spot at that point, and everything's gonna be screwed up and ass backwards. I'm surprised the blower was running. Condensating like crazy. I'm looking at 50-degree supplier. That's 2 stages running. It was 80 degrees when we started. It's probably not that hot. You could feel the difference already walking down, but also with the zone system, I don't know what's closed and open. I just getting some of the stores, so this is why the tags help. All I saw was replace blower motor. That was last week. Apparently there was a problem after that, and it was a supply sensor problem or something. Might have something to do with that. I don't know. I think there's obviously a supply air sensor, because you need that for the zone control. It should stage it down. But anyways, supposedly the supply air sensor was moved and fixed, and that was last week, late last week, and then now here it is Monday. They call back in. Sometimes you can't get out of your own way, especially when it's tough when it's 3-4 different people, between finding the blower motor, diagnosing it, coming back, putting the blower motor in, and there's another issue, and now is what it is. I don't know how that got unplugged or when, but I don't see how it would have run. Everything would have moved down on the terminal block, so it looks like my Y1 would have been G, and then G would have been Y2. I don't know the logic in the board, if it'll run Y2. I'm not sure. There's a little confusion there. I'm not sure why. Maybe something ran and they didn't notice that, and I don't know. I'm just trying to put all the pieces together. I like having answers, and you don't always get all the answers, but what are you gonna do? 72. So 72 and 50. That's 22 degrees. I'm happy with that. I did find out I don't know if y'all can see, I got sun in my supplier temperature shows 54 right there. So the last call that was here was, there's a supplier sensor on this unit. It's reading about 2 degrees low. That's the last sensor that he moved down into the duct further. I think you can see it up here. It's actually in the unit. That was excessive low temperature. It was set at 45. They adjusted to 40. So 54.6. I'm close. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. But if nothing else, I want to note it. I don't know if I can disable it in here. I might be able to. I've already staged down. That's why you're seeing 54 degrees. My concern would be is that I shouldn't really ever hit 40, but with a zone systems don't always work real well. If it's got a bypass on it and that bypass is feeding back into my return, in theory, I could hit 40, and it should. I think those Zone X systems control off static pressure and then they dump. I don't know if it's dumping air, like I said, supply air in above the ceiling or in the return. Stage 2 just kicked back in. It's also, the staging is probably also controlled by said zone system. So it's going to operate off supply air temperature as well. So it's going to have a supply air temperature on that zone control, I would assume, to keep it from dropping so low. So probably what we need to do is go spend some time in the air conditioning and find the damn zone control. Make sure everything looks good from there. That way we don't have to come back and fuck with this thing again. Vaguely remembering some of this. Timer, transformer, supply air temp. That's Y1 call and G. Let's read our tag here. Oh yeah. I know who did that tag, so I'm not going to be terribly concerned about any of this. When you see smart guy's name on a tag, it's usually a good sign. There's cover. That's going to do it. I'm going to go through the controls, but there's your Zone X board, and we'll go from there. Dampers, static pressure tubing, and bypass. Leave a tray bearing, you find it. See y'all next time.